have arrived and they're like solo. We got like a funny little album.
Praise God, dog dog. Am I allowed to record this? How many records for research purposes?
Miss Christian,
Can you stand right here?
can we put the music on the computer so it's louder?
Sure.
Let's go, rescue! Sure! Rescue!
What's that song though?
Little D.
You gotta introduce yourselves. Lil D, Rice Cube,
Lil D.
B.O. My name is Lil D.
Introduce yourselves.
Alright. My name is Lil D. I'm bringing it up, with the raps.
My name is Rice Cube.
That's not how a rapper should say.
That's really cute.
It's not copyright.
It's not
Totally original. Your trademark it.
Where's Biggie go?
I got a minute on this recording.
Oh.
Turn it up loud.
Also, everybody, because our rap is like longer than this, so like, it's gonna like pause for a second.
You have to memorize this. Rap battle right
Well,
now.
they only started practicing yesterday.
You want me to play it again?
Really? Yeah, when
Yeah.
it gets to like the last 10 seconds, you like put it back to them.
Yes. That's my job.
Let's go.
Okay, please tell me when.
Oliver, introduce yourself.
I'm nervous for you.
Yeah, okay.
I know.
Don't forget the choreo, guys.
Okay.
The band doesn't even remember our own choreo. Right. Wait, Daniel, what? Yo, Oliver, get your trumpet.
So I go here, and then it goes
Trumpet.
here, and then it goes there.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Deep breaths, deep breaths.
Does it get louder?
French Revolution rap for kids.
Little brats.
For kids. To all the nobles in the place with money and grace, allow me to show you the resentment of the peasants, unjust amendments. Whoever dwells down in estate number 3, knew only pain and suffering, never once truly free. The back of the walls where the rich lived in peace, ignorant of the anger of tax increase. The first 2 estates had power over all, and yet showed silence to the third's hopeless calls. Louis XVI was the king of France, and he threw large parties and he loved to dance. He had not skills of being a king, even though he had everything. He never listened to his visor, not one supervisor, put his country in debt so big the whole country wept. Then came Antoinette, who only deep in France's debt. She was real irresponsible, created problems unsolvable.
During this time, France was financially in trouble. Every day the debt would triple and double. Then France and Britain went to war, only putting them in debt more than before. Economic skills when they needed them the most, never to be seen like a wandering ghost. Soon taxes were raised, only on estate 3, which caused them to suffer to even greater degrees. The Estates General was a meeting of importance, called at a time of great abhorrence. Despite the major meeting, it was mostly just a beating.
Beating.
Lost
Yeah. The third Easter was founded by the National Assembly. After being tortured miserably, the Assembly allowed the third Easter to get their plans accepted, but they can do what they can. During this time, the tennis court was created to destroy the old constitution, which they hated. Promised to make a new government and constitution, which would lead to the French Revolution. The Bastille was a prison for those who did wrong, even if they didn't truly belong. So on July 14, 1789, the third Easter committed their first crime. The Bastille was attacked and was the first French Revolution Act.
Yeah. The Declaration of the Rights of Man was the product of the 36th Revolution Plan. It granted many equal freedoms and rights and made it easier to sleep throughout the night. Freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of the press stopped the third estate's stress. The citizens hated the king's cruelty treatment, so they all protested together with agreement. After all the people constantly revolting, the king and queen got away bolting. They moved in a big palace within Paris. They lived with shame and being embarrassed. They were in their palace temporarily, waiting for their deaths momentarily.
When the king and queen of France ran away, the National Assembly finally had a say. The French put their work and contribution into the first attempt of the French Constitution. It eliminated unfair taxes and privileges. This shows of their freedom images, but this constitution looked to work perhaps, but it would soon collapse. The French unpredictable actions of power led to Europe to be very sour. The French knew this war upcoming was soon, and attacked the first person. The war was finally in commission. And would be in the first coalition.
Yeah.
Will D.
The king and queen of France were having a bad day. The people didn't like them, and we're in a great fray. So they take away the king and queen to never see another day. The French created the National New Convention. Seemed like a bright and efficient invention. This new system was led by Max Robespierre. He was the great leader of France. Oh, he seemed to appear.
Keep going.
Oh, the National Convention moves previous methods of living. Monarchy, religions, and past traditions were also
Forbidding.
Yeah.
Robespierre soon became very corrupt with achieving justice. He soon put everyone in the guillotine with the reasons that were injustice. The guillotine murdered many people in disfavor, and that's when it earned the name National Razor. He removed all previous calendars and time traditions, putting everyone in the worst condition. The citizens' hatred grew more and more. His scream helps with cries, but no one to answer for. Robespierre attempted to put himself to permanent sleep, but he failed and started to weep. He was soon to be executed for his corruption, and all for his prideful eruption.
The director
Yeah.
this successfully made France recoup. They put down some riots and uprisings, trying their best to recover through compromising. They overwhelmed with many difficulties, struggling to keep up with the political scene. Over time, they began to crumble. With all the pressure during this time, then France needed a refresher. Napoleon Bonaparte, the new leader of France. The people who struggled had glory and hope at glance. Soon dictatorship and tyranny would overcome. It would come like a slam on a drum.
John, okay. Let's go.
Oh.